All right, all right. What's going on, my common sense community? Welcome to the page today. So today we're going to be watching a video with this guy. I believe his name is Frank. Hold on, let me see what this guy's name is. Franck Zuna is his name in the description. No. Let me check the comments. See if the comments know who he is. My God, man. I probably should have already known his name. But anyway, let me just look it up right quick because I at least got to know the guy's name before we get to going. All right. But anyway, there's no black global unity. Frank Zanu, that's his name. There we go. There we go. Frank. Frank Zanu. He spells his name a little different than the regular Frank. But anyway, um, this guy's whole shtick is to make a living off of being overly critical of black people and especially black Americans. Now, we're no strangers to criticism. As a matter of fact, most of us we invite it. But he does it to the point of grifting. You know, like you can just tell when you hear him talk that this is the main goal in his life is to consistently and constantly criticize black people. All right, so let's just get into it. And I'll be stopping throughout the video and having my commentary on it and shit. Like and subscribe. Um, Go ahead and join the Common Sense community because over here at Common Sense YouTube, we're going to keep it 100 all the way. So let's get started.
Country in the world today.
The youngest.
So only about 14 years old. South Sudan.
South Sudan, yeah.
Okay. South Sudan and Sudan, one country. Okay? Black people of the same lineage and same skin color. But they couldn't like each other. Danny Glover and George Clooney and some celebrities made it possible. They said, yeah, we want to cut off. And they cut off. As we speak in Nigeria, Nnamdi Kalu, Mr. Nnamdi Kalu is asking for the Igbos to cut away from Nigeria. There's another Yoruba man who is asking for the Yorubas to cut off. In Cameroon, as I speak, the Tom tribe of Cameroon, under the French section, is asking for them to secede. This is going on in the country and you're asking for unity?
So you're saying because the continent of Africa is not unified, then we can't have a global unification of the black diaspora?
But what are you unified around?
Okay, first thing, prime example of what I'm talking about here. Notice how he brings up these examples of people in these particular countries who cannot get along. and it's just so asinine to even think that everyone all the time is going to agree. Because the same could literally be said for Europe. Which is why it's just so hypocritical to always hyper focus and to try to be overly critical of black people when the same exact things can be said about any other race. The same thing can be said about Asians. Same thing can be said about Hispanics. There will always be infighting. And as a matter of fact, most fighting happens inward. Most fighting will happen within a group for the most part than it will amongst other groups. So from jump, his entire argument is already dead because he is applying a human condition, a human trait to a race as if it's just specific to the black race. He already then, shot himself in the foot.
That's something we could build. What is the purpose of Pan-Africanism if you're saying that unity is impossible?
Well, you said it as if I believe in Pan-Africanism. It's the most stupid, bogus thing ever to anybody to even say.
But you spoke about worldview earlier, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what if our worldview was to uplift each other,
Whose
black-
worldview?
black people,
Which black people?
all
of
black
us.
people.
No, there is no such thing. You can't go to Asia and say all Asian people.
But why not?
I am telling you, this is the mistake.
Mm-hmm.
We are the only ones who walk the earth, and as soon as you see a black person at an airport, oh, brother. No, I'm not your brother.
What's wrong with that?
Right.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Have you gone to Europe and you had an Italian man calling a German brother?
Fuck them. What's wrong with me seeing you at the
This
airport? And
is the problem.
you gonna have to explain it to me then.
Okay.
I don't get it.
Let me ask you.
Mm.
Let me tell you something.
Mm.
The story of Chaka the Zulu.
Mm-hmm. Shaka Zulu.
What was it? No, what was
So before he continues, the brother asked him exactly right. What is wrong with that? What is wrong with having commonality, camaraderie with someone who looks like you? We don't have to do what white people do. If white people cannot come together or see each other as brothers outside of knowing someone, that's on them. That's on Europeans. So what? We do not have to be like Europeans. We are different, obviously. We have a camaraderie. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And to use examples of other races who do not share that same camaraderie, that's not sufficient because we don't have to be there or be like them.
he famous for before they killed him? Tormenting fellow black tribes in that region.
Okay.
So that's the man you're going to unite with?
No.
Okay.
Mm.
I'm just telling you. We think that skin color makes you and me the same. We're not.
Mm-hmm.
I am from a small tribe called the Ajat tribe in Benin.
Mm-hmm.
Benin is only 6.5 million people with over 40 tribes. When I say tribe, I mean the language is like French and Chinese.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have anything in common with the 49 other people in my country. Nothing in common.
Mm-hmm.
They speak a different language. They have a different God, a different religion, different food, different forms of wear and culture, traditions, and customs. We were forced, carved, and say, remain here.
Mm-hmm.
He's not my brother.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're asking for a global brotherhood of all black people. Why would the black people be different from any continent? Europe is a global community of white people, but they don't go around saying brother and sister. Asia is a community of all yellow Asians in Asia. They don't go around calling each other brother and sister. Same with the Middle East, same with everywhere. Where only when it comes to black people, you think we're all the same. We're not the same.
Oh, okay.
Because-
And look, hold on.
Yeah.
Really quickly, this is why FBA was announced. Because once you guys acknowledge us as colored people, right? And then it went from that to African Americans. We embrace our brothers and sisters that was on the other side, right? And getting shitted on, and people with selfish mindsets, not thinking like how we're thinking, like let's connect, let's adapt to each other. When you get frowned upon, now this is why Black Americans, Foundation Black Americans say, okay, I don't want to be a part of what African American stands for. Because I'm not African American. They clearly then that's where the conversation comes in.
Oh, right
okay,
there.
but look, but then you go with, so what is this Foundation of African? You guys was African American. Well, it's like, why would I want to be African American if I know that you guys?
Who is you guys African American?
Well, the people that look at African Americans as if you're not African American unless you know what tribe you're from, what else, unless you didn't read
I'm not
the book
African
about.
American.
No,
No, but what he's trying to, I got
Okay,
you.
gotcha.
Okay. So you have to remember when it comes to their show, they have a lot of people throughout the diaspora, a lot of women who come up here and they will say things like, well, you guys don't know who you are. You guys don't understand where you are. You guys don't understand your culture because you don't even have a language. You can't tell me where you're from. And they're like, oh, I'm from Brooklyn. I'm from Philly. No. You from Africa, but you don't know what tribe. You don't know this, that, and the third. So you're not really African American. Y'all are lost. Y'all are lost people. Like, that is you could just taking their show as a case study, you could pick any random episode and find somebody saying something along those lines.
Yes.
None of that does anything
I see.
for things.
Let me explain something.
Mm.
So, the term African American is correct.
Mm-hmm.
It's Afro-Brazilians, Afro-Cubans, Afro-Americans. The Afro, you can make it African.
Mhm.
I am not African-American because I'm from Benin.
Right.
So I'm a Beninois American.
Mhm.
Obama is Kenyan American.
Right.
You are African Americans, which means I can look at you and trace that you are from the continent, except that I can't trace which specific tribe. That's why we use the continent as a whole as a.
Okay, so I feel like that just kind of went off the rails a little bit. But just to get back to what Frank was saying when he was making the distinction of him being from Benin, them having 6.5 million people, and all of those different tribes that are there that are completely different that he does not identify with. So this guy's basically just an isolationist. Because for you not to understand the commonality of skin color, you're trying to live outside of the social construct of the world that we live in. And, that is delusional. It's delusional to deny the social construct. I understand if you don't like it, but to deny it and try to live outside of it is a delusion. There is a camaraderie amongst Black people or amongst people who are defined as Black by that social construct. And we have that because of the type of people that we are. We are not like Europeans inherently. We are not like Asians inherently. We have more of a camaraderie amongst our social construct defined as Black than any other people who exist in their particular social constructs. And there's nothing wrong with that. He wants to have this Eurocentric way of life or this Eurocentric worldview to where it's isolationist, to where I'm here and this is just me. And if you do not share every single aspect of your life with me, then we can have no camaraderie. That's why the English and the Irish still fight each other to this day. That's why Europeans are so violent to each other. That's why they have consistent wars. That's why they fight and fight and fight the way they do. It's because they do have that isolationist mentality to where if you're not 100% just like me, then you're different from me. Even if you're 99% just like me, that 1% makes you different from me. So now I'm going to completely delineate from you, and I'm not going to have any type of camaraderie with you based on what similarities we do have. We do not have to be white. We do not have to live by these European standards. We do not have to live by these European ways of life. It is asinine for you to think that people in the Black diaspora, especially considering historically, recent, history, the past 400 to 500 years, what the Black diaspora has been through, and to think that no camaraderie will come out of that. As a matter of fact, he asked the question why. He said, why is it only Black people who do this? Like, history answers that question for you. Historically, Black people were forced to come to that camaraderie with one another due to the treatment of Africans in the transatlantic slave trade and the Saharan slave trade, the trans-Indian slave trade. We were forced to get that camaraderie because it was us against them. And we didn't make it that way. They did. The social constructs in which Europeans instituted and enforced through brutality caused that camaraderie to happen. So, I mean, it's amazing that, it's the prime example of the Dunning-Kruger effect. You purport yourself to be astute and well-learned, and knowledgeable, which I'm, pretty sure he is, but you can never outsmart common sense. So maybe he's too astute, maybe he's too educated to not understand that the camaraderie in which you're asking about and why it exists in Black people specifically, and you're completely ignoring the historical evidence we have that shows exactly why that camaraderie exists within Black people as a collective. is due to the brutal nature of our recent history in the past 400 years. And again, when I say recent, that's in comparison to the millennia and the thousands and tens of thousands of years before that. Let's keep listening. But yeah, and so like, I guess the other guy was saying that's where, foundational Black Americans start to delineate, or why they start to delineate, is because of what Frank is saying. This isolationist mentality, this isolationist worldview that if we have 1% difference or 2% difference, that's enough for me to say that I can share no camaraderie with you at all, which is completely wrong. And just to kind of correct the brother, as well, yeah, foundational Black Americans delineating does have something to do with the treatment of foundational Black Americans by other immigrants, African immigrants in particular. But most of it comes from our claim to reparations and not having been able to, delineate that from people who are not of that lineage, who still benefit off of calling themselves Black. Because it's okay, again, it's okay to have, the camaraderie. It's okay that, all right, if you want to be, if you call yourself Black, if you're Black, fine. But here in America, we still must have that delineation. Is not a complete separation. It's just a delineation even within the group, because we're still a group, but we are recognizing those differences in which, he's talking about, which is fine. It's fine if you want to recognize the differences, within the group. That is fine. But to take it to a point to say that there is no camaraderie within this group of people only because of our small differences is wild. Foundational Black Americans are delineating, for the most part, for claims of reparations and for claims of seniority when it comes to being an American. Because as I talked about yesterday, everyone can be an American, but you cannot be as American. And that's kind of where that comes from. So I guess that's what the FBA brother was kind of bringing up, trying to draw a parallel to with Frank here, explaining how they delineate so hard even within their own country. But again, in the sense of asking why we are a certain way, we don't have to compare ourselves to what other races are doing. No other race experienced to the extent what Black people have experienced globally. So of course, we're going to have different perspectives. We're going to have different elements of our culture that exist within our social construct defined as Black. It's going to be completely different from everyone else. And that's okay. We do not have to emulate them. And I just hate when they bring up those examples as if we have to emulate what these people are doing. No, we do not. Let Europeans do what the fuck they want to do. And us as, Black people and the Black diaspora, we're going to do what we want to do, which is based in part off of what was ingrained into us and what our ancestors were forced to do.
Prefix to your current nationality.
So would you call somebody from Haiti, Haitian, Afro-Haitian, or Afro-Jamaican, or Afro-Trinidadian?
Now, very good point. You see, those who live in the Caribbean, they are homogeneous by skin color and they don't have any mix of people. So you just call them Jamaicans, Haitians. You don't say Afro. But Brazil is not originally all Black Caribbean country. It was Portuguese, and then they took Blacks there. So to differentiate, you say Afro-Brazilians. Yeah. So that is the difference.
Yeah.
Okay. So if I look at you, I say, oh, wow, these are brothers and sisters who once could have belonged to.
So for that to be true, that would mean that that no natives were in the Caribbeans, and that no natives were in Haiti. I'm not sure. Is Haiti a part of the Caribbean? Let me see. I don't believe it is. because it could be. Oh yeah, Haiti is part of the Caribbean. Okay, all right. So and then let me see. Um, let me just find out next which people are indigenous to the Caribbeans. Are indigenous to the Caribbeans. To the Caribbeans. Okay, so the Taino tribe. Tainos, Kalinagos. Okay, so let me just ask another question. So the Caribbean was the original home. Was originally home to several diverse indigenous groups, collectively known as Amerindians. Okay, so basically Native Americans. Let me see. Were any of these people African or of African descent? Let me see. A lot of primary indigenous groups, Taino and Kalinga, originally migrated from South and Central America. Okay, right. So he's wrong about that. He's absolutely wrong about that. There were, again, according to contemporary history, there were no Africans in the Caribbean. All of the Africans were shipped to the Caribbean. So, in essence, by his logic, they should be Afro-Haitian. They should be Afro-Jamaican. They should be Afro this and Afro that, because they were not the original inhabitants according to, basic contemporary history. I know people will have their own ideas on that. But if we're just going based off, contemporary history, those were Native Americans in those lands. So it should be Afro-Haitian and Afro-Jamaican and Afro, all the rest of the countries there. So he's wrong about that.
Now, I bet you, if the African Americans who came here had been able to trace their tribes, their country, that kind of thing, you wouldn't look at me and say, I'm a brother. No.
I'm telling you, without that information, I want to call you a brother.
Oh, no, I totally admire it.
Yeah.
I admire it because I know it's a very endearing word that African Americans use here to show that we are in a struggle together. Okay, I understand that
we're unified to build together.
So
I think you're looking.
Okay, so that is what he was saying.
Right.
He said something was interesting, that I educate for a reason. I do.
Yeah.
I also uneducate, meaning there are certain promises we are being given. It's just diverting us, and it's not going to happen. You're not going to have a Pan-Africanism. That is one. It is only for groups of people who are thinking that there's a reason they can't build South Africa. So now you're looking to join because misery loves company.
Don't let Dr. Umar hear you say that.
So no, I don't believe in Pan-Africanism. It was created after, Kwame Nkrumah made it popular, but even though it was created a long time ago, Kwame Nkrumah, and why was it created here? It makes sense. Because when you are in captivity outside, you long for the people there. You remember the song By the Rivers of Babylon. Here we sat and we remembered Zion, even they don't know. So you are remembering Zion. So it's fine for you to have that need to say, look, if I can only connect with my people. But I am realistic that unless you and I, one-on-one, we decide on how we want to relate, there is nothing common and natural that is going to make me and you ever understand each other easily as an African American.
And then here's another thing. They love to put that on Black Americans. The fact that we don't know our original language. We don't know the original places we come from. We don't know the original tribes. But in actuality, the same can be said for white Americans as well. English is not the native language of Europe. There were so many other languages in Europe existing within those different oh my God, word just why can I not say? This word is slipping me right now. Ethnicity. God, I couldn't say that. But there were so many different ethnicities with their own language in Europe that none of them speak now. From the Gales to the Franks to the Germans to the Scandinavians, literally the same thing can be said for Europeans. They all don't know these white Americans. They don't speak their original language. They don't know their original language. Not from their ancestors. So like that same concept can be applied to them. It's not just Black Americans who are out of touch or who don't know specifically where they come from or the language of their ancestors. There's no white Americans in America speaking Gaelic or speaking Germanic, ancient. Even Old English. They don't even speak Old English. And English itself is a mutt fucking language. It's a language that is made up of so many other languages. It took words from so many other languages, dumbed them down, mashed them all up, and now we have this smorgasbord of words. The English language has over 600,000 words. 600 fucking thousand. So the English language is like the baloney of languages. And for comparison, you take a language like Swahili. Swahili would be like the Wagyu beef of languages. It's probably 1/6 less the words. And not only that, Swahili and English both use, on average, about the same amount of words. So what is the point of having 600,000 words if on average you're only going to use 30,000 of them? Whereas you have another language over here with probably only 100,000 words, and using the same amount. What is the fucking point? So anyone who is speaking English, is not a flex, or is not the flex that people think it is when they say, oh, well, you're speaking English, you're not speaking your native language. Nigga, English is not your native language ancestrally. And not only that, it is a mutt language. It is a dumbed down language from so many other sophisticated languages with fewer words, and still they use on average about the same amount of words. And one of the things that adds sophistication to a language, or that makes a language sophisticated, they say, is the amount of adjectives you use. How you're able to subscribe, or how you're able to describe things. And on average, English and Swahili have about the same amount of adjectives. And they use about the same amount of adjectives. So this whole flex about not knowing where you come from and in the language and all that shit pretty much can apply to most white and Black Americans. And especially applies to Hispanics as well. Even though most of them are still in their native land, they've lost the native tongue of, pre-European invasion. So like people just really need to stop trying to put that jacket on just Black Americans as if we're the only ones who have no idea about our original language and our original homelands.
Can and I. Impossible.
Well, do you think that we're intentionally divided? Intentionally divided, Black people?
No. Which one?
Africa from African Americans?
No. It's just natural because we don't have anything in common, man. You're not intentionally divided. What do you mean? You were intentionally separated by being taken away from the continent.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you are asking for a unity with Africans on the continent.
Mm-hmm.
We have huge problems of our own.
Mm-hmm.
Curable diseases we can cure. Okay? All right.
Everybody has
inside the United States.
Yeah.
The African Americans themselves don't get along. Yes. Crime and killings in Chicago, Baltimore, LA, Detroit, you name it, in Bridgeport.
Yeah.
You know, I'm the gun violence director for my city.
Yep.
So you go to New Haven, Hartford, Waterbury, and Bridgeport, and we don't shoot Asians and white, we shoot each other. Now, when are you going to even fix that to unite in the...
See, again, another false ass, fake ass argument. All races kill each other the most. Whites kill each other the most. Whites are not out here killing blacks and Hispanics and other races for the most part. They're killing themselves. Hispanics are not out here killing blacks and whites and Asians for the most part. They're killing themselves. Asians, that same old ass, age-old trope applies to all races. It's so amazing how they try to take these human characteristics, these human traits, these human commonalities, and just attribute it only to black people, as if black people are the only ones engaged in those particular activities. It's complete propagation. And to even further that point, what are the actual number of people doing that? So you're going to say that black people cannot get along in America because of what the vast minority, the microscopic minority of black people do within those certain areas. No matter where you go in America, it is a vast, microscopic, minuscule, miniature amount of people, black people, committing those crimes. Miniature. And you're going to take that small sample size and use it as your example to say that black Americans cannot get along in America, when most of us do. Because most of us are not killing each other. It's such a small number, under 1%. Under 1%. So how are you going to blanket? And how are you going to associate that trait of disunity and not being able to get along to 99% of the people of that population, because only because of what under 1% of the population is doing? It's so old, it's tired, it's played out, and you know, that shows the pseudo-intellectualism. You see, he just talked about educating people and uneducating them. He himself needs to be uneducated, or at least re-educated, because you use these same talking points. Again, Eurocentric, white conservative, racist talking points. If you're talking about black on black crime and using it as an example as to why, or using it as the using it as an example to why all black people can't get along, or a vast majority of black people can't get along, that is a pseudo-intellectual racist talking point. There's no scholarship behind it. There are no statistics behind it. There's no verifiable evidence at all to say that what under 1% of a race does is attributable to what the 99% is doing. It's the composition fallacy all day long.
The United States of America first and say, now we can look towards the continent. When we are divided over there, we can't. There's better chance you guys can unite here than we can ever dream. No, don't be fooled by that. And don't let anybody who comes here tells you anything flowery about the continent as if we have accomplished anything. No, we haven't.
If you were ever groped, inappropriately touched, or assaulted while riding in an Uber or Lyft, you may be entitled to up to $580,000 or...
I think that's one of the biggest weaknesses of Africa, is the lack of unity. I think once the Berlin Conference happened and they started putting these invisible borders and created all these countries, you go in and you you conquer Africa because everybody is so segregated, and you got things of y'all don't have racism over there. Y'all created your own form of racism called xenophobia. Like y'all don't even experience racism, but y'all needed to create some system to divide each other. So y'all created xenophobia. You discriminate against somebody because y'all from a different country. You see them as an enemy. Is no different from gang violence. These are the people that look like you, and they don't respect or want to unify. They see each other as the enemy, and that's the issue.
Like, telling you, when Frank talks about African American, he points also onto the continent. You have missed the similarities I'm trying to display. It blew me away when I arrived here, man. I'm telling you, when I arrived here, I was yearning for some black women. I mean, I've seen them in movies like.
So again, now they're applying that same trope to Africa. The majority of people in Africa do get along. He said Africa hasn't done anything. They have done a lot. And you can just look at it through the GDP. You know, look at the GDP of South Africa and how it's grown. They don't pay attention to the actual statistics. Well, not the ones, or not the side of the statistics in which show the opposite of what they're trying to say. Look at Nigeria. Nigerians have some of the highest PISA scores, even more than Europeans. Like, every country, every continent has its problems. Stop trying to take human commonalities, human problems, and attribute them to black people and to black establishments and to black countries and black continents. It's again, it is the composition fallacy. The part is not the sum of the whole. It's just not. And then you can reverse it and do the division fallacy. That because the whole or the whole is not the sum of the part. Just because you see most doing it does not mean all is doing it, because why? There are always exceptions. But, you know, of course, the exceptions are not the rule. So right now, we're not talking about the division fallacy. Right now, we're talking about composition fallacy. You want to take what part of the people are doing in each area and attribute it to the majority of people in that area, and then come to these conclusions that black people cannot get anything done in Africa or in America, which is a complete lie. Because when you look at the other side of the statistics in which you're using to prove your narrative, it shows a whole nother point. It has an entirely different storyline once you look at the statistic in totality and you don't zoom in on the part of the statistic that, you know, helps support the propaganda that you want to speak or that you want to support. Like it's indoctrination. That's how strong the finesse is.
Sisters are fine, not the fat ones on the continent. Okay? Until I got here and I said I can't. I can't, and I'm telling you the truth. I can't. African Americans are impossible.
So you wouldn't date an African American woman?
He said he married one.
His first wife. His first wife.
Okay. Seriously, I'm being honest, man. Because as soon as I walk in here today, I knew I would speak freely.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. And I'm telling you, I don't take anything against African Americans. Come to my city and see me and African Americans, man. Every Father's Day, cards are coming in from all my students. They call me dad. I'm a surrogate to 3 different African American kids who didn't know their dad. I was an MC yesterday. I have to take one with me. But I'm not fooling them that it's because I love you and I want to connect and I want to unite. No, because my worldview, as I was raised in my tribe, as my grandfather explained it to me, as an Ajah man, that's my tribe, okay? When you step outside here, anything in front of you, find a way to embrace it. Find a way for that thing to have part of you. So everywhere I have lived, that worldview is the reason I am a human being, because that's what I believe. So when I went to Japan, it took only 3 months. I started feeling, uneasy because language difference, everything. So I went to my landlord and I said, where is the community center? They call it Kominkan. He said, what do you want to? I said, I want to study Japanese. And he took me. And I said, I would teach English. because there were housewives plenty, right, and homeowners, and foreigners were coming to Japan back in the early 90s and late 80s. So they all embraced it. They thought I was being kind. No, that is me being driven to say, I need to form oneness. Now I am here. And that is it. Next town was asking for me. Next town, I became very popular. I have breakfast with the mayor almost every weekend. As soon as I arrived in Bridgeport, yes, I could have left and gone to California. I could have gone anywhere. But I have been, a board member of the International Institute of Connecticut. I've been on 2 different mayors' board, youth development board. I form my own. It's me just picking something in front of you, because that worldview, my culture says, everywhere you leave, if you don't make yourself part of that place, you are not fully human, and your success is limited. So that drives me for community service.
Wow. Just wow. Just wow. And that goes back to my conversation that I was having on my last stream about these people holding position who come from.
You want to file free? Hit it.
Well, these people who come to our country and start serving in governmental positions, and look at the worldview he has, which is okay, it's fine, but you have no connection here. And you're doing good things. As you said, you help people, you mentor, that's fine, that's great. But you sit on boards and make decisions for Black Americans and for Americans with not even having a vested interest outside of your financial situation in this country. And then you spew this pseudo-intellectual bullshit. I can only imagine how he's probably brainwashing those children without giving them the nuance and the context to the things he's saying. He's saying this stuff as if it is so black and white, as if there is no variance in any of it, as if there is no wiggle room, as if it's so tight and so strict that this is and must be the way. It's wild. It's wild. And again, they take the fringe examples, they take the extreme examples, they go and use the smallest batch of people and smallest batch of examples they can find, use that to formulate an opinion about the vast majority of the rest. Nothing is more asinine than that. Nothing is more backwards than that. It's a wild thing. It's a wild thing. But hey guys, thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Remember, like and subscribe. Over here at Common Sense Twitter, we're going to keep everything, common sense. We're going to address all these issues from a common sense standpoint without bias. Because the world is full of too much narrative. Everyone wants narrative because truth is dead. Because everybody wants a narrative. Everybody wants to spew a narrative. And now those 3 young brothers, they were actually looking to him for, actual intellectual conversation to, try and learn. But he had nothing of substance to give them. He only gave them platitudes. He only gave them, stereotypes. He only gave them a surface level in front of the curtain on the stage type information. Nothing that dug beyond the surface. Nothing that looked behind the curtain to see how the cogs actually work. Just the same old played out cliche sayings and just just muck. It's just all muck. Anyway, thank you guys for being here. Like and subscribe. We're going to keep it all the way 100 here. You can never outsmart common sense. And thank you for watching. I appreciate it.